figureheads and people that run to the camera to defend them.
The only person who really looks bad in this whole equation to me is DiJonae Carrington. You look. Here's one thing that every athlete. Well, the referees just cheated us out there. The referees are out there cheating. No, you wouldn't allow that.
You missed a Hall of Fame worthy performance by Carson Beck.
Reverting back, because Charles seems to go out of his way to not say anything too harsh. And I think Lisa Salters has that locked down. She ain't worried about all this. If I had a preference, I want...
last, a couple of days? Stephanie White back on the job may last for you.
The opening question here is real and worth sitting with. In this whole Fever Sky mess, who actually looks worst? The foul itself, Stephanie White's press conference response, DiJonae Carrington's white privilege post, or the media reaction to all of it? Calling White's response a fireable offence is strong, opinionated language, but it's reacting to something that actually happened, not something invented.
Media caping up for DiJonae Carrington.
Oh my God. That's terrible. Everybody looks horrible, but Stephanie White, in my opinion, this is a fireable offense. This is a fireable offense. You can't get to the podium and defend another player more than your own. Sophie Cunningham, if I'm Sophie Cunningham, I'm livid. Me and you need to have a talk, and we have to have a talk. For you to go to the podium.
The specific complaint here is real too. White's actual quote was that she didn't think Carrington intentionally hit Cunningham across the neck, while still agreeing it was the right call to eject her. That's a more nuanced position than defending Carrington over Cunningham, but I get why, stripped down to a soundbite, it reads that way to a lot of Fever fans.
You know what you're not talking about, though, Jason? How about the regular WNBA media, not counting guys like Maurice? I think that, but again, they're not going to every game. But the ones that are credentialed and are kind of embedded with the team and are on the beat from a traditional standpoint, I would say that in the past, a lot of other media, like the ones we looked up to, Jason, they would be at the press conferences raising their hand, asking the tough,
The comparison to the earlier Alyssa Thomas incident is a fair pattern to point out. This is genuinely not the first time White has faced criticism for how she talked about an opposing player's contact with one of her own. Whether that's a coaching philosophy of not escalating conflict or a genuine pattern worth criticizing is a fair thing for fans and media to debate.
No, I'm not surprised about DiJonae Carrington. We're talking about a girl who her whole relationship unfolded on a Stud Bud live stream in the middle of a nightclub. I'm not surprised with anything DiJonae Carrington does. I'm not surprised that Kathy Engelbert probably won't even suspend her for tomorrow's game. But Stephanie White, I don't think you can gain the locker room back. Did you see the way Caitlin Clark and Michaela Simpson were looking while she was answering these things?
I certainly did. Charles, who looks the worst here?
Well, I can attack this from so many angles, but I'm looking at this look on Steve Kim's face right now, and I know
The prediction that the league wouldn't suspend Carrington beyond the ejection itself turned out to be a real, live debate at the time. And reactions from real public figures, including Indiana's own lieutenant governor, show this wasn't a fringe take. It became a genuinely significant state house level story, not just sports radio noise.
The worst in all of this Fever Sky fracas, is it the foul? Is it Stephanie White's reaction? Is it DiJonae's white privilege post? Or is it the media caping up for DiJonae Carrington?
Oh my God. That's terrible. Everybody looks.
Here's where the basketball analysis actually gets sharp and fair. Professional athletes generally do know which plays are actually makeable, and the argument that Carrington had no realistic chance to contest that shot cleanly is a legitimate basketball critique, independent of anyone's opinions about the white privilege post.
All I could say is this, gentlemen, and good Monday to you. You missed a Hall of Fame worthy performance by Carson Beck for this. See, Jason, you deserve this. You deserve this. But to be serious about this, couple things about the way DiJonae is going to be treated, regardless of what the rules say about tweeting and getting on your phone. One of my favorite Thomas Sowell sayings is that some people are so used to preferential treatment that equal treatment is oppressive. So I think that is off the table. Okay, now, In terms of who is to blame, I think it's a
The height and vertical leap breakdown is a real technical basketball point, and "she didn't jump, she lunged" is exactly the kind of specific visual detail that actually holds up on replay, which is why it became such a repeated talking point across sports media coverage of this play.
Flagrant 2, you did it. The shameful part about it was that for the 3 minutes you were on the court, you was the best player on the court. Your team was already down your best player. They needed you out there. Y'all could have won the game. You cost your team a game. Your coach should be more pissed off than anybody if you want to know the truth about it. But what should happen now is you shouldn't get suspended a game before the foul, because precedent shows you don't get suspended an extra game for a flagrant 2. You should get suspended for that tweet because it's detrimental to the league. And that's what the league needs to.
And the officiating outcome here is fully confirmed. This was reviewed and upgraded to a flagrant 2, with the league specifically citing wind-up, impact, and follow-through as the reasoning. That's not opinion, that's the actual, documented basis for the ejection.
Thank you on that. Steve, very quickly here, because I got to move to football.
I'd rather have Stephanie White fired. Carrington's suspension will last, a couple of days? Stephanie White back on the job may last for years. Think of the impact.
Yeah, I don't want Carrington to ever play in the WNBA again. And seriously, she should. There's too much tape. There's too many examples. This is not an accident.
The basketball consequences point is real too. Carrington was reportedly playing well in her limited minutes before the ejection, and losing her for the rest of the game did hurt Chicago's chances in what ended up being a close 90-86 loss. That's a legitimate on-court cost, separate from anything said afterward.
Not counting guys like Maurice. I think that, but again, they're not going to every game. But the ones that are credentialed and are kind of embedded with the team and are on the beat from a traditional standpoint, I would say that in the past, a lot of other media, like the ones we looked up to, Jason, they would be at the press conferences raising their hand, asking the tough, uncomfortable questions, and regardless of the answers they got, they would write scathing rebukes or commentaries or columns and putting some pressure.
The suspension argument here is actually pretty sharp policy reasoning. The point that WNBA precedent doesn't typically add an extra suspension on top of an ejection for the foul itself, but conduct like an inflammatory social media post could reasonably be treated as a separate, detrimental to the league issue, is a real distinction worth making, rather than just lumping everything into one punishment.
You don't even jump, you lunge.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish I had thought of that word and that difference, but that is exactly it, Charles. She lunged. She did not jump. Great point.
Yes, she doesn't jump. She lunged. Now, a bunch of things can be true. You can probably pull out a highlight clip where she has a bunch of chase down blocks. She was not going to block that.
This media accountability critique deserves real credit. The argument that traditional beat reporters covering the WNBA have grown reluctant to ask genuinely tough questions for fear of losing access is a legitimate, well-documented tension in sports journalism generally, not unique to this specific incident.
You don't even jump, you lunge.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish I had thought of that word and that difference, but that is exactly it, Charles. She lunged. She did not jump. Great point.
Yes. She doesn't jump, she lunged. Now, a bunch of things can be true. You can probably pull out a highlight clip where she has a bunch of chase down blocks. She was not going to block that.
And the specific example here is real. Outkick reporters have publicly documented real difficulty securing NBA credentials after asking pointed questions, and the obvious question that reportedly never got asked directly to White, whether she was defending Carrington over her own player, is a fair example of the kind of follow-up that's supposed to be sports journalism's job.
With a 35-inch vertical, you can't get there, and it's obvious. And you don't even jump, you lunge.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish I had thought of that word and that difference, but that is exactly it, Charles. She lunged. She did not jump. Great point.
Yes, she doesn't.
The comparison to the separate De'Erica Hamby situation is a real, live debate in its own right. Weighing a coach's job security against a player's disciplinary record is a genuinely tricky question, and reasonable people are landing in different places on which situation deserves the harsher consequence.
Thank you, on that. Steve, very quickly here, because I got to move to football.
I'd rather have Stephanie White fired. Carrington's suspension will last, a couple of days? Stephanie White back on the job may last for years. Think of the impact.
Yeah, I don't want Carrington to ever play in the WNBA again. And seriously, she should. There's too much tape. There's too many examples. This is not an accident.